Hello my friend, if this is the first time you watch my video, just so you know, this is not a cosplay channel, and this is also not just about philosophy here. We build connections here, we build conversations here, and most importantly, we build bridges here. If you think I'm shallow, please listen to what I'm going to say and make your judgment. Also, if you think I'm somebody isolated myself, a crazy philosopher so-called, I'm not really like that. So, I developed a philosophical system and gave the name as Relational Non-Duality. But this philosophy is fundamentally inspired by Taoism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, as well as other great Western philosophy. And along all the way, I'm trying to express and discuss with other friends about how can we apply this philosophy in daily life. Because this philosophy is not far away, it's not just about intellectual activity, it's something realistic, it's something we can use in daily life. And I genuinely believe that this philosophy can help us to develop a more harmonious life. Why? Because life is fundamentally a combination of relationships. If we can fix and we can change the angle how we see our relationships, we can fix where it's blocked, where it's low energy, then everything can shift. Everything can be so different. This is the real magic take place in daily life. And I'm glad that we can walk on this journey together. So when I just started to explain what is relational non-duality, I bring out 5 principles. But back then, I was very shy and nervous in front of the camera, and a lot of people even suggest maybe I'm AI. So I think it's important we can just emphasize it again. Today, I'm planning to explain these 5 principles in details. So the first principle is the inherent dignity. This is literally the first thing come to my mind. We're really very familiar with the concept of original sin. And actually there's something a little bit similar in Buddhism, it's called dukkha, which is suffering. Buddhism suggests that living in this world, which is suffering, the essence here is suffering. That's why we need to seek for liberation, seeking for moksha. But this is the part that I understand a little bit different. So as we all know that this world is not perfect and humanity is not perfect, suffering is real and evil is real, but doesn't mean because of these things exist, there is no good side anymore, right? We have sad moments, we have emotional sad moment, depression, but at the same time, we have such happy moment in our life as well. And we all have the ability to give love and receive love. So this means everything. In my eyes, this means everything. That means that we shouldn't just be so extremely only see the bad side. We should also consider the good side and appreciate and try our best to develop our life into a harmonious, good way, which we can express this good side in humanity and to express it into the world. And this is the good part, and this is the interesting part about our humans' free will. We are able to do this. Otherwise, how boring life could be if everything just perfect, isn't it? So what I truly oppose here is to defining the fundamental tone of our existence as one of pessimism. Because if we do so, we'll always live in a kind of psychological atmosphere of self-blaming and guilt. And I'm not against any religious belief here, but you will find those people who are truly liberated, those people who love and care, and also they feel happy about everything, about life, about themselves. You find this kind of people, no matter if they are religious or spiritual or don't even have beliefs, you will find those kind of realization is not out of guilt. It just cannot come out from guilt or self-blaming. That's just not the right way. But of course, I do understand another side of opinion. Some people will suggest that if we don't have this seriousness, we don't have this self-guilt or the sense of awareness, then human beings will not even reflect ourselves. Then we're still savages. We wouldn't have morality, we don't have law system, we will not even behave ourselves. So In this way, to understand what is evil, what is wrong, is important. Of course I do understand. Just like if we have child, and then we will need to teach them what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. But the way is important. And also you don't want your kid to forever live in guilt, right? It's the same comes to us. And I want to say that morality is not necessarily have to build based on pessimism and fear. Morality should be the natural outcome of us to understand relational non-duality. And that is the final goal of this philosophy. So my friend, no matter what is your religious background or your philosophical stance, I genuinely hope from now on you can confidently be yourself. No more self-guilt, no more self-blaming. You have to accept that we are just not perfect. We accept that we have our weakness. And we accept the fact that this world, there are true suffering there. But at the same time, there are so many good things it's worthy for us to appreciate and guardian, like love, like compassion, like morality. Let's be guardians. Let's be guardians to guardians these beautiful things all together. And actually, this is the beautiful part about free will. We have so many chances to participate in this world. We have so many chances to make things even just slightly better, to make things a little bit harmonious, to reduce harm even just a little bit. This is how we participate. And please remember one thing, my friend. The essence of your existence is limitless bliss. It's not a mistake. I know that a lot of people might disagree with me. They will say that the serious philosophers, they are all pessimists. But in fact, the reality is not like that. We feel sad, we feel depressed. It's because we didn't really touch the real essence of existence yet. If you really do, then that is the liberation. And you wouldn't feel in that way anymore, because the reality is the opposite. In reality, our essence is forever bliss. Well, and I know that it's a long journey to go for us to have this realization, but we don't need to hurry. We can just take our time and be patient. And I'm very grateful that you can walk with me on this journey. Let's step by step. And the second principle, I name it as nonobscurism. And I have to apologize a little bit, because at the beginning, I name it as demystification, the principle of demystification, which is a little bit misleading, because people will thought that, am I suggesting I'm trying to deny the beauty of mystery in this world, which I will never do that, because this world is full of wonder, and I always enjoy and I always appreciate it. I will never deny the poetic beauty of mystery in this world. What I'm really trying to let people alert of is the trend of anti-intellectualism and authoritarianism. Because if we go extreme about anti-intellectualism, then we might consider everything as bondage. Humanity is bondage, morality is bondage. When we think about something we should do or shouldn't do, all of them are just bondage in your mind. It's just illusion. You should just, break through all this bondage. And essentially, we wouldn't even have the sense of morality. We wouldn't have the sense of rationality. And that could lead to a very dangerous consequences. Just imagine if this world are full of people, go extreme about the anti-intellectualism, then they wouldn't really care about you. They wouldn't care about the consequences of their own behavior, because all of these things in their eyes are just bondage. So, it's very simple and obvious to say why we shouldn't encourage anti-intellectualism, because that is a dangerous path. And another thing is about the worship of authority. I think more or less, deep inside, we wish there will be some kind of guidance. We can just follow the guidance, and it can lead us to truth, lead us to happiness. That would be great. And I think it's important that we help each other out and we spread some positive knowledge and some important insight. Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, we should be open for the inquiry, and we shouldn't completely rely on the authority. So if we are just worshiping authority in an extreme level, then we would have to so-called surrender to give up all your judgment. And I also believe that is not a wise path. I think essentially the path of life, you have to participate by yourself. It's not something you can give away, completely surrender to some other doctrine or surrender to other understanding. You have to walk the path by yourself with the insight you gaining from the path, with the help of others. At the same time, most importantly, you have to step by step, feet by feet, to make all of this mark of your development of your consciousness. Another thing about this non-obscurism is also very important. Why I mention it is because there are fundamental difference between monism and non-duality. Non-duality and monism, they are two different philosophical systems, and in the previous episode I often talk about it a lot. So if we understand the reality in the perspective of non-duality, then everything, we are the ocean and also we are the wave. What is wave? Wave is like our expression, it's like our action, our words, our language, our communication, all of these things. They might not be the essence itself, but they are the expression of the essence. So they are meaningful, they are important. They are the way guide us to understand the reality, to understand the true essence. And more importantly, these are how the essence expresses itself. So I think that we should always appreciate the essence. At the same time, we should also appreciate the expression of the existence. I think essentially what I'm trying to say here is that if we say love is the essence, but if we don't use any words, we don't use any action to love, then we just say love is the essence, and it's more like we just hang it somewhere to worship it. And that feels very dualistic, because love should be through our action, through our language, through our expression. We shouldn't separate it or trying to separate it from the reality, from our daily life. Otherwise, that's very dualistic thinking. Even though you call it monism, you call that is the only essence, but you already separated from the daily life. And I don't believe that is the reality. And this is simply my belief, but I do practice this way in my life, and I feel genuinely happy and fulfilled. And this is why I'm trying to express this kind of idea that we shouldn't separate the essence from our phenomena, from our world. And I always say that the essence of existence is relational. That means the existence, the essence is always expressing itself through relationship. If you blocked all the relationship, you don't want it to be manifested, you don't want relationship to express the essence, then that is not the way to live with the essence, right? We need to live as ocean, also as wave. That's just how it is. They are non-dual. They're non-duality. We shouldn't separate them. I know I'm trying to express this again and again in different angle, but this is such an important point. And the next one is the principle of openness. We always say that we should have an open mind, we should be open. But in reality, we find it always a bit difficult to do. So let's say what happened in history. I'm more familiar with Indian philosophy, so I talk about Indian philosophy then. People might know that Buddhism and Hinduism, they kind of like not accepting each other. They always have a lot of conflicts because their fundamental understanding of the existence is different. Well, actually, in a lot of ways, they complete each other, and essentially they are expressing something very similar. But I'm gonna take a really long time to explain. I don't want to offend any religious people here, but I'm trying to build this bridge here. Please have faith in me. So generally, people understand Buddhism and Hinduism as they reject each other, but what actually happened in history? So let's talk about Buddhism first. Buddhism is actually highly influenced by Veda as well. Veda is the foundation, is the source of India philosophy, all of those wisdom. It's just like the birth of India philosophy. And a lot of different philosophical system or religious system, they all inspired by Veda. Hinduism take Veda as their absolute truth, absolute authority, but Buddhism also inspired a lot, especially like concept of shunyata and dependent origination. All of these concepts you can find the trends in Veda as well. So this is how they influence each other. This is about Buddhism. And also we talk about Hinduism. You might not heard the name of Advaita Vedanta, but it's definitely one of the most popular train of thought in India philosophy now and through the time. It's a very radical system, but a lot of people find it make a lot of sense. So when you say you are Brahman, Brahman is you, and all this kind of completely monistic understanding, that is from Advaita Vedanta. Well, we will explain it a lot in the future. But anyway, but you know what? Advaita Vedanta is highly influenced by Buddhism. Highly influenced by Buddhism. The concept of Maya is introduced to Hinduism. And Maya, the concept of Maya at the beginning is from Buddhism. And also this concept of pure consciousness, which is transcend the traditional worship of the personal God. All of this transcendence or difference, I don't want to offend religious people, but I'm just saying that these differences is highly influenced by Buddhism. That is why even till nowadays, there's still a lot of argument even within Hinduism. They found Advaita Vedanta is too radical, and they know that how much it influenced by Buddhism. This is just how we develop our understanding. This is just how the nature flows. That with time, that with our open mind, different systems influence each other. And then this is why India philosophy is so rich, because it has so many different voices, it has such a diverse systems, and they influence each other. They're open to the dialogue, even open to the debate, but at least you let them speak out. And this is the foundation. You have to have an open mind. You have to allow different voices. And this is how any kind of philosophical system get developed. Without this opportunity to speak out, to express, there is no prosperity of any philosophical system. And this is so important as well, isn't it? But of course, I know your worries. Because if we consider everything just developing, there's no such thing as absolute truth, then we will just like keep chasing it, but we forever cannot even have it, then it's just depressing, isn't it? So how we deal with this relativism then? I would suggest that most importantly is that we shouldn't rush to define, but what we need to try to understand. Because long live the understanding. Sometimes we want to persist the truth. We found it maybe just something we can grab it. But this is not the reality. The reality is that the truth is something you can only participate in. You cannot grab it or possess it. It's something like water. You want to grab it and it will just flow away. Because the essence of this truth itself is relationship. This relationship can only express itself through your participation. You cannot grab it by your intellectual, no matter how smart you are or how much you want to grab it, you cannot really grab it. So the best way is to live in a harmonious way with this reality, with this ultimate truth, which is the relationship, is the relational non-duality. So if we feel like we cannot grab the ultimate reality, then we feel sad. Then I think that is just a little bit, we should change the angle a little bit. It's the opposite. Because the ultimate truth is like the ocean. We cannot really catch it by our hand, but we can understand it and experience it by our wave, by the manifestation of the wave, which is us, which is diversity of all the existence in the world. And it's beautiful. It's an amazing journey. It's a beautiful journey, amazing journey. There is nothing need to feel sad about it. So live in the present, live in this living process, because this ultimate truth was never dead and it will never die. And that's the most beautiful thing about the existence. And the next one is the principle of holism. In almost every episode I ever made, I'm trying to emphasize this again and again, that we shouldn't try to approach reality in an exclusionary mindset, because that will not bring us any understanding. We will only isolate ourselves like an island. And also, this kind of mindset is fundamentally dualistic. When we separate the reality as matter and mind, or as body and our consciousness, all this kind of thing, we are essentially rejecting a portion of the reality and grab another portion of reality and claim this reality is the only reality. This kind of mindset is fundamentally dualistic, and this will really is such a big obstacle for us to understand non-dual reality. So I always emphasize this again and again. And I believe that if we want to debunk this kind of dualistic thinking, this kind of habitual behavior, then we need to try our best to develop a habit to consider everything in a more holistic way. And the beginning, I would suggest that you can consider things in a middle way, because middle way is the beginning, will lead you to a more holistic thinking. For example, you really don't like somebody, you even hate this person. And then at the beginning, you want to understand holistically about oneness will be very difficult for you, because you're still in a very dualistic way to see that person. But then if you try middle way, then you try to, no matter how difficult it is, but you try to find the good quality in him, the part that you admire and you would like to learn from this person. And then you will find everything become more soft, and you will find the middle where you can see both sides of story. This is the start. And then eventually, this path will lead you to eventually to understand everything as a collective oneness. And this oneness is the final goal for our realization. So middle way is the gate, is the key to open the gate of holistic thinking. That's why I also often mention middle way again and again. So my friend, I know that this is not easy, it's not simple, it's a hard work sometimes to erase those kind of extreme thinking, those kind of dualistic thinking, but just believe that your effort will be rewarded. If you try your best to develop this kind of new habit to understand things in a more mutual, middle way, at the same time, try to approach holistic thinking, then eventually you will find the way you understand the world, the way you build the relationship with the world will be fundamentally different. And that will improve your life directly. And the last one, also the most important and brilliant one, is the principle of grounded goodness. So the foundation of your behavior, of your thoughts, must be goodness, must be kind, must be love and compassion. As long as you make sure this, then your philosophy or even your personality will always bring this almost magical effect of healing and inspiring. Because your language itself, it contains so much power. Your words, your action, your words, they are all powerful. And when they are trying to spread a kindness, trying to spread love, it will help to build a very harmonious relationship with others. And the opposite, if no matter how fancy the words you use, if underneath is just pure ego, it's just kind of like willing of control or showing off, then this philosophy eventually will definitely go to the wrong way, and we don't want that. Our kindness and love is like the foundation of the tree. No matter it's the tree of science or philosophy or something else, everything, every tree rely on this foundation. So if the foundation is poisoned, then the fruit of this tree will be poisoned as well. So people wouldn't be able to eat it without harming themselves. So if we nurture ourselves, we nurture this foundation with love, with compassion, with pure intention, then the fruit, even though it's not that sweet, but definitely will never be poison. So this is so important. So my friend, I hope you can be bravely express your love and your light within you. And this world needs it. Don't be afraid, don't scare, don't be shy, because this word is what it's for, is to express your love, express your light, to shine upon others and others shine upon you. And this is how the relationship work. Eventually we will reach this harmony. And I'm really happy that you can accompany us through this journey. And I'm so looking forward to hear how you think about all of these things. Are you agree with me? And do you have other different thoughts? I'm really curious and I'd like to have more discussion with you and always enjoy this.